Today we have witnessed a major event. The Conservatives have chosen a new leader, Kemi Badenoch. This announcement caused a real storm of emotions, and politicians did not hold back their opinions. In our video, we will dive into the words of Farage, who confidently declares that this decision will be the beginning of large-scale reforms and will radically change the situation in the country. Kemi Badenoch has taken over the reins of the Tory party, and now she faces a confrontation with Starmer. Farage notes that this event can radically change the course of events. He wants to convey to the public that this could be a real turning point for the whole country.
So, as projected, and indeed delivered, Kemi Badenoch is the leader of His Majesty's loyal opposition, which means the Conservative Party have turned their backs on the idea of leaving the ECHR because that's what generic stood for. What you're going to get with Kemi Badenoch is more of the same. Pretty much exactly the same as the last 14 years. I've got to tell you, one thing they don't understand, it isn't about the individuals. The Conservative brand is broken.
However, this woman is not at all the person she pretends to be. Who is the real Kemi Badenoch? What did she say before taking up her position?
We can focus on three principal areas where we have gone wrong. Explaining where, for instance, we've gone wrong with immigration, that the duty of a government is to its citizens. So the concept of a nation state and sovereignty is very important to me.
Just recently, the Conservatives' parliamentary elections were successfully defeated thanks to Rishi Sunak, as the Tories decided to bury themselves even deeper. He failed to pursue an effective policy to combat illegal migration.
It has been a great trip. I've met many businesses, many US businesses investing in the UK, UK businesses investing in the US, and the atmosphere is actually very positive. Many companies, including business trade associations, are saying that the policies which were announced last week were many of the things that they had been asking for. They still have faith in the UK, and market turmoil happens fairly frequently. This is a global phenomenon. You're absolutely right that there is some instability in the UK right now, but the Bank of England has also made lots of statement which has provided lots of reassurance to business. So I think that we're actually in a really good place.
Economic difficulties, compounded by a series of crises, have led to a decrease in our incomes and a slowdown in economic growth. Since 2008, when the UK adopted a policy of austerity, abandoning large investments in social programs, the real disposable income of citizens has almost not grown, and purchasing power has significantly decreased. The situation is aggravated by the low level of productivity, which remains one of the most insignificant among the G7 countries. But the problems of the United Kingdom did not end there. Three major blows, Brexit, the COVID-19 pandemic and the war in Ukraine, further destabilized the British economy, plunging the country into significant debts. Brexit, in particular, has reduced foreign investment by a quarter in 5 years, and the break with the European Union has complicated economic prospects. During the pandemic, the government raised £280 billion to support citizens, but the subsequent energy crisis caused by the anti-Russian sanctions policy led to a sharp increase in the cost of living and an even greater increase in public debt, which now makes it difficult to service it, and what turned out to be the reality.
In particular, I'd like to thank the Home Secretary for removing the annual limits on work visas and also on international students, both of which I lobbied for on behalf of the Wellcome Sanger Institute and Anglia Ruskin University, which serve my constituency. Could he elaborate on how removing the work visa cap in particular will give business certainty?
What do you think of this woman? Will she be able to transform the country? Meanwhile, in other news, an alarming topic is being raised. Rising costs of medical care and disability benefits may exceed income. Reeves increased the national insurance tax. The Centre for Social Justice reports that spending on benefits will rise by more than £19 billion by the end of the current parliament. But Shea warns that the social security system in the UK is increasingly absorbing vital tax revenues that should be directed towards improving public services. The Office of Budget Responsibility also warns that a sharp increase in the number of applications for medical benefits after quarantine may become a constant burden on public finances. The OBRA predicts that by the end of the decade, annual spending on health and disability benefits will exceed £100 billion for the first time. By 2030, an additional 420,000 households are expected to claim health-related disability benefits. It is also predicted that the proportion of applications for universal credit for health reasons will grow from just under a third to half of all applications. In addition, a sharp increase in child disability benefits is expected, which could increase from £4.4 billion this year to £7.2 billion by 2029 due to an increase in cases of autism, ADHD, and learning difficulties. The number of people who are not working or looking for work has increased by almost 700,000 since the COVID pandemic, reaching a shocking figure of 2.75 million. These are not just statistics. Behind each of these numbers there are real destinies and sufferings. Many of those who receive health benefits found themselves in this situation against their will. They are exempt from the obligation to look for work due to severe mental disorders such as anxiety and depression, which caused them to be fired. Reeves announced the allocation of a whopping £25 billion to employers by increasing contributions to the national insurance system, as well as an increase in the rate by 1.2 percentage points to 15% compared with April. But it's not just numbers on paper, it's real money that can change people's lives. However, the Office for Budget Responsibility also warns that this increase in contributions will lead to additional costs for universal credit in the amount of £400 million. Low wage growth is forcing more and more people to apply for benefits just to make ends meet and provide for their families. The situation is becoming more and more alarming, and these figures speak of a crisis that affects the lives of millions of people. Secretary of State Liz Kendall has made an important statement. Changes to the disability benefits system will be proposed next year. This is a step that can change the lives of many people who find themselves in a difficult situation. Andy Cooks, Executive Director of SCAES, supported Kendall's initiative, stressing that she is well aware of the need for devolution of powers to support employment and provide jobs during periods of unemployment. Nevertheless, Cook did not hide his concerns. He warned that decisive and bold measures are needed to truly combat the problems of long-term illness and economic inactivity. He cited the example of the Netherlands, where responsibility for solving the problem of unemployment was transferred to local communities, which gave amazing results. Pro-Palestinian activists at Manchester University smashed a glass cabinet and stole 2 busts of Israel's first president, Chaim Weizmann. Members of the Palestinian Action Organization did this in honor of the 107th anniversary of the signing of the Balfour Declaration, a document in which Britain expressed support for the creation of a Jewish national home in Palestine. Police received a report of a burglary at the university on Oxford Road and soon arrived at the scene. They have started cooperation with the university and its security service to investigate the incident. This vandalism was part of a broader series of coordinated attacks organized by Palestine Action in honor of the signing of the Balfour Declaration. In Cambridge, students from this group also showed up and sprayed the university building with red paint. Meanwhile, a shocking incident occurred in North London. The British-Israeli Centre for Communications and Research was doused with red paint. This action is now being treated as a hate crime, and it is causing a storm of emotions. The group behind the act claims that BICOM, an organization that actively disseminates information about Israel and the Middle East, is funded by income from the production of Israeli weapons. What do you think about this video? Write your opinion in the comments. See you soon.